In the world of news, Palki Sharma of First Post stands out like a sore thumb at a nail salon. With her flair for dramatics, she's become the queen of biased talking points. But let's take a moment to roast her, shall we? Picture this. Palki sitting at her desk, green with envy as she watches China flex its superpower muscles. It's like watching a kid at a candy store, staring longingly at the lollipops while clutching a sad, wilted carrot. She says that China is under pressure, the U.S. is cracking down on its unfair trade practices. Ah yes, China under pressure. Right after getting a 90-day trade truce from Trump. Meanwhile, India just got slapped with a 50% tariff like an unwanted Amazon package. Let's get this straight. On the 12th of August 2025, Donald Art of the Deal Trump tells China, "Don't worry, buddy, we'll extend the truce, no rush." Meanwhile, India, boom, 50% tariff on key exports starting the same month. And yet here we are, watching Palki pretending like Beijing is the one sweating. Sure, Palki, they're totally trembling, as their exports to the U.S. keep moving without a price hike, while India's exporters are crying into their balance sheets. The mental gymnastics here deserve an Olympic medal. On one hand, she wants to sound like a fearless truth-teller, calling out China's economic weakness and being the talking mouth of the Indian government. On the other hand, she's completely ignoring that India just got economically uppercut by the guy who Modi went out of his way to please. Do you all remember when he rushed on the first flight to Washington, D.C. after Trump's inauguration, when he was received like a lowly diplomat with no red carpet welcome, when he awkwardly hugged Trump, who clearly didn't want to reciprocate, when he had to bring an English-to-English translator because nobody could understand him, when Trump told him to buy expensive American junk and take back thousands of illegal Indian immigrants, to which Modi graciously obliged, when he went to meet J.D. Vance and his half-Indian kids were totally uninterested and bored, and now he gets slapped with 50% tariffs. It's like watching someone mock their neighbor for getting a parking ticket while their own car is being repossessed and sent to be crushed into a cube. Here's the reality. Trump's 90-day extension for China is basically a golden handshake. Let's talk, let's work something out. For India, no handshake, no talks, just a straight-up slap. And you know what? Beijing didn't even have to beg for it. They played the game, kept quiet, and got the deal. Meanwhile, Palki's over here, eyebrows raised, voice dripping with condescension, telling her viewers that China is losing. If that's losing, I'd hate to see what winning looks like for her. Let's not forget, India's 50% tariff isn't just symbolic. It's on products like textiles, automotive parts, and steel components. These are industries already struggling with high costs, and now they're competing against tariff-free Chinese goods for 3 more months. But instead of addressing that painful reality, Palki diverts the narrative. China is desperate. Really? Desperate for what exactly? 3 months of breathing room and the chance to keep their U.S. market share? Sounds like a dream scenario. China manufactures over 30% of the world's goods and is the largest trading partner of over 100 countries. Meanwhile, India is not even in the discussion. This is where the bias really shines. When India gets hit, it's always someone else's fault. Unfair treatment, bullying, protectionism. When China gets a deal, it's always framed as weakness. The mental filter is so thick you could use it to strain soup. And the jealousy? It's almost too obvious, you can see it in her face. She can't stand that Beijing pulled off something New Delhi couldn't. Actual negotiation leverage. India tried to play the "we're an important partner" card with Trump, and he basically replied, "That's nice. Pay up." It's not like Trump has suddenly become pro-China. This is just business. He knows China's trade war impact is mutual, and he wants a deal on his terms. India, however, doesn't have that same bargaining chip. But instead of admitting it, Palki puts on the theater performance, China is on its knees. Funny because from where I'm sitting, the only ones on their knees are Indian exporters, praying their shipments can survive another quarter. And I say that's funny, but it's actually sad because 80% of Indians live under the World Bank interdimensional poverty line. And let's talk numbers. In the past year, China's export growth to the U.S. slowed, yes, but they still clocked in hundreds of billions in trade volume. India, much smaller scale, and now with a tariff that could shrink its already tiny slice of the pie. The irony is, if this were reversed, if India got the truce and China got the tariffs, Palki would be calling it a diplomatic victory and a testament to India's rising influence. But because it's the other way around, she spins it as China's humiliation. The real humiliation is having to explain to Indian manufacturers why their goods are suddenly 50% more expensive in the American market, while Chinese goods stay competitive. That's not just a policy problem, that's a strategic blunder. It's a stain on Modi's strongman image. And you can hear it in her tone, that little sharpness, that extra bit of emphasis whenever she says China. It's not just reporting, it's personal. It's like watching someone's ex show up to a party looking amazing while they're stuck explaining why their own date was canceled. Instead of using this as a moment of honest reflection, maybe questioning why India couldn't secure better terms, she's doubling down on the narrative that China is collapsing. Spoiler alert, they're not. They just bought themselves more time in the most cutthroat trade environment on the planet. Meanwhile, India is out here trying to convince itself that a 50% tariff is just a temporary setback. Yeah, and the Titanic just had a minor water leak. This is the difference between being on the inside of the game and being on the outside throwing rocks. Beijing is at the table making deals. New Delhi is in the waiting room, reading about the deals in tomorrow's paper. But sure, Palki, keep telling us China's on the ropes. Keep selling the fantasy that this truce is secretly bad for them. Because if the audience actually looks at the scoreboard, they'll see that China's got 90 days of business as usual, and India's stuck paying the price, literally. It's the classic move. If you can't win, pretend your opponent's victory is actually a defeat. The problem is, in this case, the opponent is walking away with a bigger market share, and India is walking away with higher export prices and fewer buyers. At the end of the day, this isn't about patriotism or pride, it's about cold, hard economics. And right now, China just got a cushion, India just got a tax bill. But hey, if the story sounds better with a dramatic voice and some anti-China flair, maybe it'll hurt a little less. So while Palki keeps painting this as Beijing's moment of weakness, the rest of the world sees it for what it is, a quiet, calculated win. And the louder she shouts about China's troubles, the more it sounds like she's trying to drown out India's own. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.